Thanks to those joining me live and to those that be joining me, G-Funk, Reggie Owens, and Stormy B-Man on Archive. What's going on? What's going on? What's going on, G-Funk? I see you're scared, bro. You're avoiding me like the coronavirus. Look at this. He's scared. He want to show his face. What's up?
Oh, man, I ain't never scared, baby. I'm ready to go. Like all these fighters now all of a sudden with the coronavirus.
What's going on, Stormy?
It's all good, man. How you doing this evening, man?
I'm good, man. First, tell everybody where they can find you, bro.
Everybody can find me right on YouTube as Stormy B Man. That's the name of the channel where you can catch the Friday night chop session with Stormy B Man and my brother Reggie Owens. And every other Saturday, you can catch the Three Wise Men of Boxing. Also in the Eye of the Storm, where I interview various members of and content creators from the community. And then I've also managed to work in on Tuesday evenings, the Tuesday Tussle, where we just go over the subject of boxing and we just laugh and enjoy everything about the sport. So that's what's going on with me right now.
Absolutely. And G-Funk, tell everybody where they could find you.
Yeah, well, you can find me here on YouTube, G-Funky84 Boxing. You see the title right there on the screen. You can catch me also on Twitter now. I'm on Twitter at G-Funky84. So hit your boy up, man. Like, subscribe, and do the same for everybody else here.
And you can catch him on Wednesdays on Hispanics Causing Panic, right, as well.
That's right. That's right.
And Reggie, what's going on with you, bro?
Oh, man, just chilling, man. Catch me on Boxing Conversations with Reggie Owens. But other than that, chilling, and I'm calling vintage fights. So I'm old fights with the actual footage and doing play-by-plays on them since I can't get a new fight.
There you go. You guys can go ahead and check that out. And you can also catch Reggie on Thursdays here on D-Style Boxing. We'll see what we got to find something to talk about. All right.
That's a great idea, Reggie. I'm going to have to start doing that with you, man. That's cool.
G-Funk, you beat me to it because I was going to say the same thing. Reggie going to need somebody to say, he ain't getting up, Jim.
Well, I'll tell you what. I got I already have the punch by punch, blow by blow, play by play of Apollo Creed against Clubber Lang. The fight's already happened. These styles already called it, but the rematch, I may do that rematch later this week, so you guys can stay tuned for that one. You could catch the real one though, the first one, the real one, the first one. You can catch it on my playlist. Big Dog Willie, what's going on with you, bro? I hope you're safe. I hope you're good. I know he works in the yard and stuff like that. Man, we're gonna get through Corona. We will. But let's try and squeeze in as much boxing talk as we possibly can, because people are hearing from it as, they're hearing a lot about this stuff, man. You guys are tuning in to Weekend Aftermath. This is the March 16th edition. All right. As you can see, this is Batman theme week. And I have a poll up on what theme you would like to have next week. All right, so make sure you guys vote on that poll. Today is Aftermath. Tomorrow is a Puncher's Chance with Ashley Knuckles. Hispanics Causing Panic on Wednesday. And Boxing Conversations on Thursday. And tomorrow, again, Puncher's Chance. Why so serious? Well, it is boxing, right, after all. But with that said, let's get started with a big story that popped up this weekend. Right? There's an old saying, what brought down Richard Nixon was not the crime, but the cover-up, right, of Watergate. There's been a lot of gates lately, but there was a story that popped up about the old, not that old, about 5 years ago when Tyson Fury, popped dirty by UCAD. And as we know, he already got suspended for that and all that. But it came out that they try to pay off a farmer. Reggie, what's going on? And why didn't he succeed?
He got a little bit selfish, and that selfishness is caught up with Tyson Fury, dumbass. You offer a man to make a foul statement under, I believe it's perjury, even though it ain't with the courts, it's with this drug organization. But I think you do have to swear under oath that you'll tell the truth, the whole truth, and whatever else goes with it. But this farmer got out there due to money being offered to him. It caused him to go against, his consciousness. And most people going through some financial crisis offer that type of money will pull off a lie. But along with that, it also shows the flaws in the UCAD system, being that this dude can tell them, make a statement about offering them this meat. And I think this is the same thing that goes period when it comes to this drug cases, that fighters can come up with claims of saying, all right, I ate this, I got this from here, without the investigators going even any further of going to visually inspect these places to ensure that, hey, I got meat here, that blah, blah, blah. Because now the farmer states that he ain't never raised boar a day of his life, ain't never had him on his farm. So it shows that UCAT ain't doing its due diligence when it comes to shit. They just going out there and taking whoever words. You can say the aliens brought in, they'll buy into that shit. And this is just craziness, and it exposed a lot of the holes that persist throughout this sport. And not even real holes, it's just things that the boxing sport doesn't want to clean up is what it really exposes. But I believe there is some truth to it, because I think they say this farmer's name is on paperwork. He's a documented person involved in this case, defendant, whatever you call him. He's part of Tyson Fury's defense into this. So all around, everybody done effed up. But now if it comes out to where they put pressure on this and UCAT gets serious about doing their goddamn jobs, they can start to put so much pressure that people on Tyson Fury's team begin to crack. Because I'm pretty sure Tyson Fury then stuck it to people who were once his friends by not paying them. They can be bitter. They're seeing all this other money that come on. They can find other people to leak out these stories. The more shit is going to come out. The more pressure, the more attention that's paid on this, Tyson Fury is going to be opened up. And that's the reason why he's so silent about everything. He comes off one of the biggest wins in a long time outside of the victory that Andy Ruiz pulled off. But he defeated one of the most dangerous heavyweights that's out there. And he did it in what some will probably describe as unseen fashion. You ain't celebrating. Nobody wants to interview you. Nobody's calling you. There's something suspect about that. But now Tyson is probably trying to do, he's doing a whole bunch of this managing of this crisis. He's probably trying to reach out to people, pay off these debts to hush people up, but it may be too late. But I can't wait as time moves on, because boxing is flatline right now. So there's a lot to be put on people. They need money. Things can be offered for these stories. They about to crack on this dude. It's going to be more and more coming out.
Well, I will say, man, like I mentioned, this is not a good look. And according to reports, he's facing possibly up to 8 years suspension. That could mean he won't face any. It could mean he'll face just a year, half a year. Who knows? And again, it's important to note that he already got caught for the substance and has admitted to it. However, the fact that this came out, there was an attempted cover-up, is definitely not a good look. Stormy, well, what are your thoughts about this pending story and the developments of it?
There was a passage that I had read many years ago as I was growing up. It said, "The truth crushed to the earth will rise again." And it's manifesting itself in this situation with Tyson Fury. Not only has the most recent fights been exposed to have some questionable goings on, but now, even after looking deeper, we're finding more and more. And it's like, my goodness, how many bodies are in the grave? You know what I mean? This guy he has a history of crossing the line. And for whatever reason, there is possibly some type of excuse the expression, but black hand behind his career, because now it's obvious that as far as the talent that people may have thought was there underlying, including Emmanuel Stewart, R.I.P. to Emmanuel Stewart, there was a miscalculation, which can happen. This man, although he be the size that he is, 6'9", 6'10", and 250 plus pounds, he really has not shown over his career that he's been able to crack an egg. But it's awfully interesting that as he found himself rising up against stiffer opposition, he has sought a means to level the playing field through cheating. And there have been people who have covered it up for him. There have been people who worked in co-conspirators, and it has run its limit with this the farmer coming out, because again, there's no honor amongst thieves. These people promised this man something. He figured, okay, they'll pay me because they said that they would, and he went along. And then he's seeing all these other things go on and everything, and he's like, man, they never even paid me. So now he's the caged bird who has been released and is singing his tail off, because he has really nothing to lose in doing so. That all being said, I feel that Tyson Fury is a disgrace. He's a disgrace to the sport. He's a disgrace to all the hard guys who out there in the gyms across the world, who put in the work, who put in the dedication, who tried to grind to the top. Here he is, he stepped head and shoulders above and around them with what do they call it in football, that when you get that pass, I can't think of it right now, but that's what he has received, par gras, to go to the top. And even in his so-called victory over Deontay Wilder, we could see elements of something being not right. Just look at Wilder's appearance. And this is a man who fought 12 rounds with him, one fight previous, and he didn't sustain this type of damage or injuries. And then how about this, D-Style and panel? There's someone in his camp that has a tie to the Margarito camp, where Margarito was known to cheat. I mean, this just, it gets deeper and deeper and deeper. And I love hiatus in the sport and professional sports, period. This is what we can talk about more and more, and people will tune in, and people will start to see these videos and these films for themselves and start to question, hey, what the hell is going on here? And then be able to see the sport for what it is, because there's a biasness that's going on, there's a prejudice that's going on. The WBC is at the center of all of this. And what about Franchon Cruz? Where's her belt? You know, she was in a situation with the WBC backing a cheater, just like in this situation, where they came out right away, immediately, kind of like what they're doing in this situation, and giving full support behind something that is absolutely, corrupt. There's something to this. So I'm glad we're talking about it. I'm glad we're putting it out on Front Street, and the world is taking note, and even like mainstream is starting to crack. So let's be at it, man. Let's do our due diligence and get this information out there, and don't stop now. Damn the torpedoes, full speed ahead.
Make sure you guys jab the like button as Chief Funky 84 put. And let me give a quick rundown here on the chat. Shout out to again Big Dog Willie. I hope you're safe out there, bro. AJ10 says what's good to everybody. Residential fact checker of the show. Shout out to AJ10. KRML SMA says hello from Netherlands. How many cases, you guys, where you live? There's 2 in El Paso, but I mean, overall, I mean, I don't think we have the numbers in front of us for that, bro. But nonetheless, thank you for being here. Chicano Prophet, yes, Fury, and we'll talk about coronavirus in a little bit, guys. Fury will need to speak publicly on all the matters eventually. I do agree with that, Chicano Prophet. Jameson Marsh says, I would like to see where this UConn investigation goes. We will see. I heard that they have reopened that investigation. Shout out to Chicano Prophet, by the way. No Paul Boxiano's on here. What's going on? Gray Wyatt's, what's going on? No Paul Boxiano's again. What's up? And Jameson Marr, let's wait to see what investigation finds. European boxing commissions are sketchy. I think all commissions are sketchy. It doesn't matter. They're from here or anywhere else. Okay. I will say this, though. One, it is fair to point out that we already knew Fury tested positive in May. I'm sorry, May in 2015. Like that is not a surprise. We knew this like a long time ago. This is not news. We knew this before the first fight. We knew this when Wilder called him out to fight. We've already known this. This is not something new. I just want to point that out. What is new is the allegation that they try to cover it up, which is bad, should be pointed out, and should be investigated. I still, however, I have to be honest, and this, maybe unpopular, but I got to be honest, guys, I don't find enough evidence right now to say that he's just a full-blown cheater and he cheated in the rematch with Wilder. I have no evidence to support that whatsoever. He did the test. He did pass the VADA test for this fight. Okay, it came out that both fighters, passed every test. And also, another thing that came to my attention, that was earlier today. All right, there was the allegation that there was blood on the knuckles. So let's go ahead and put this to rest right now. Okay. Yes, he had blood on the knuckles. Absolutely. And when I saw that, I absolutely said, what the fuck is that? How is that possible? No way is it going to get through the glove. 100%. However, new footage just came out. AK Fight News, EK Fight News. I'll credit him in a little bit when I bring it up. Brought up the footage, and when he took off the gloves initially, there was no blood, no wetness on the knuckles whatsoever. Well, I'm talking about the second fight. None. He had the blood on the knuckles after he embraced Wilder in the corner. That's how the blood got on the knuckles, right? There is footage on this. We do need to make sure we're transparent about that. It's just something I wanted to bring to light personally. I still have an issue with the fact that with the first fight, that glove was definitely way too loose. We have to make sure that glove is tighter on the wrist area. 100%, I agree with that, just personally. So we have to make sure we kind of note that. And while there is fighters saying that they agree he did something fishy, they are pointing a lot to the first fight. And while I agree the first fight is problematic, the glove itself, we have to, everything is case by case. In the second fight, I personally did not see anything fishy. There's pictures of the knuckle, right? That looks like a knuckle, right? Where the laces are. It's not a knuckle, not in my opinion. It is the palm. The wrapping right here. They have side by side photos of when he's getting wrapped, and you could see the crease, and you see it side by side with the glove when he has the glove on. All right. Also, in that same photo, you could see the fingers on top of the glove stretching the glove open, right? So while, again, I'll repeat, it definitely appears like something funky was going on. Shout out to G Funky. But in the first fight, I'm not seeing it in the second fight. I have to be honest, right? And I presented what I presented. I go by the facts of the matter. And he also did not test positive. That does not, however, excuse the fact that they try to cover up what they did in 2015. All right. So That's something that has to be investigated. And if the punishment is a suspension, then he absolutely needs to be suspended. Because, like I said, the cover-up is worse than the crime. G Funky, what are your thoughts on the pending news, bro?
Yeah, I agree, man. You know, with the dirty tests that this guy's had in the past, and now this story of a possible cover-up, you know, just makes it worse, man, for him. If it comes to light that you know, that this is a real thing, that this guy paid some farmer off to say that he ate some wild boar and that it had chemicals in it or whatever. I mean, you know, I trashed
farmer have a wild boar, but that's a different story. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I trashed Canelo for his excuse for saying there was clenbuterol in the meat down there in Mexico. I mean, I'm just not buying that. I'll never buy that excuse, and I'll never buy this excuse from Fury. You know, like I said, he's already popped dirty once, so now you're trying to cover it up. There's just no way out of it. I concur with what Chicano Prophet said when he said Fury's going to have to address all of these accusations here. That I want to hear what he's got to say about it. I need to hear from Fury about all the stuff that's coming out. And you know, it's time to figure out, you know, what happened here with this farmer guy and things like that. And if it's true, he did pay this guy to cover things up, then you know what? Get him out of there for the amount of time that they say, 8 years. Hey, he's got to go. No exception, man. So you know, that's my stance on it, man. You're gonna cover things up. That just makes it look worse on you, man. So I really want to hear. I'm really more interested to hear what Fury's camp has to say about all this stuff. You know, that's what I really want to hear.
Well, we know
Fury himself.
Well, we know the case, and I don't mean to interrupt you. I apologize, but we know the case is open, and I see a lot of channels, specifically in the UK, okay, coming out saying, "Oh, it's a non-issue." What the fuck? It is an issue, right? Right? Like you cannot cover shit up. If we allow this to stand, if giving them the benefit of the doubt and let's let the facts come out, it's not looking good, but let's say whatever, let's say it comes out that they did in fact try to cover it up, okay? And it's not looking good. But let's say that comes out. That is a big deal. If they allow this to just be pressed aside, literally, that's a bad precedent. Any fighter could come out and say, you know, because I ate the contaminated meat and it was this, it was a wild boar, it was and if they get caught lying, then and there's no punishment for it, then that's gonna cause a very bad precedent in the sport. I apologize, Steve Funk, but go ahead.
No, I mean that was pretty much all I had to say about it, man. I really want to hear what they have to say. You know, I mean, that's always the interesting part to me is when these things come out, you know, and then the fighters, you got to just hear what they got to say. But I mean, I'll be honest with you, man, I'm not buying this wild boar, whatever, you know. I'm not buying it, man, not for a second.
Yeah, I'm not. I mean, obviously, it's there's no need to buy it or not. The guy already came out and said that the farmer anyway that he was bribed for this, so or attempted or whatever. Okay, whatever the case is, it's not a good look. It isn't a good look for Tyson Fury. And I invite any Fury fan to come to me and tell me I'm not fair to Fury. Okay, I would dare you to do that. Okay, but that's just not here nor there. You know, but that's just what I feel about that. Okay. And I hear you, Dark Horse Effect, but the farmer already came out. So we're going to see where that goes. Before we move on, whether it's Chief Funk, Stormy, or Reggie, any additional thoughts you want to add?
He guilty of cheating, man.
Cheating on what specifically?
He's been cheating throughout his career.
Let's be specific, Stormy. When you say he's guilty of cheating, and what?
The issue at hand is about his glove and how he's using it in a boxing match after having bare knuckle competition experience, and he knows, and his people around him know how to position the hand to get the most effectiveness out of what he's doing when he's punching. And it doesn't apply to boxing. He can go to MMA and try that crap out. He can do it like in his bare knuckle tough man contest and everything, but it has no place in the sport of boxing. The Marcus of Queensberry rules, everything about how the fist and what part of the fist is supposed to land on an opponent, and none of the referees have said anything but Eddie Cotton, okay? And then Jack Reese in a couple of fights on his hand when it wasn't in the proper position. The man is a cheater, and they're covering for him. I don't care what nobody says. I don't care. You give him benefit of the doubt. If it was Deontay Wilder whacking people out with his hand not totally in his glove, they'd be trying to put him in jail. Wake up.
All right. So, well, first of all, is he guilty of cheating in 2015? Yes. So that let's put that aside. Okay.
He's guilty of cheating on 2/22/2020.
But hold on. I'm just going to have to go on record here, guys. I don't agree with that, Stormy. I don't agree that it's
You don't have to, but I've watched enough boxing in my life.
Hold up.
Yeah.
You say what you say. Let me say what I need to say. Okay. Like I'm just not going to go out of my way and just say this guy, without a shadow of a doubt, he had his glove in the wrist area in the rematch, and that's what did the damage. I just don't agree with that. And I'm looking at the same fight as you, the same pictures as you, the same frames as you. Like I'm looking at the same thing. All right. I just have to be honest. Like I just don't believe the fist was in the wrist area.
And did you see the wounds?
I'm with Stormy on this one.
Did you see the wounds on Wilder?
Stormy on this.
The wounds on Wilder are indicative of improperly handled gloves.
Here was after the shots with the right hand, not the left.
No, there are shots of him hitting Wilder in the face where the glove is flopping back and he's landing with the base of the wrist. And that's the fifth area. That's where the fist was. And you don't get knots in the back of your head from the gloves. You don't. You get that from knuckles, bro.
I see more evidence.
Hold up. You could get knots, bro. Mayweather had knots in the back of his head after the Ortiz fight. And he showed them to reporters. You can get knots in the back of the head.
And what? Ortiz barely touched him.
He had knots in the back of his head, bro. Okay, he even bragged about how those were the only injuries he had after that fight.
Yeah, I'm with Fury cheating on this one.
I think there's more evidence, and this was a problem I had when a lot of these videos first started to surface. Was that I'm looking at the footage and I'm like, okay, this is from the first fight. A lot of these clips, yeah, and then I mean, I think that there was definitely something wrong with that glove in that first fight. But to say that in the second fight that's why he stopped Wilder, I mean, I can't say that, man. I can't agree with that. I just think that he just got beat, man. He just got beat by the better guy that night. And did Fury do some dirty tactics and rough housing? Absolutely. And it's not the first time that we've seen this. So I mean, Wilder's going to get into the match, and he's got to make some adjustments, man. He can beat him. I mean, he dropped him twice in the first fight. So I mean, it's not like it's crazy to think that Fury could just go in there and muscle him around. I mean, he's a bigger man. And he used his mass and his weight to muscle Wilder around a little bit, and it worked. So Wilder's got he's got a blueprint now, and he's got some homework to do, and he's got to come back strong, man.
G Funky, let me tell you something about getting hit barefisted, bro. If you're in a fight like they were in, and you get tagged early on with bare knuckles, it'll throw you the hell off. You're like, what the hell is this? And you don't have time to make assessments. You have to try to defend yourself and things like that. It's no wonder that he came out so aggressive on Wilder. Wilder called him let me finish. You asked me to let you finish, right?
Well, go ahead.
Now, when he came out as aggressive as he was, Wilder had talked about the man not having much punching power. And let me just go on the record and say, I saw something wrong in the first fight. I mean, in the second fight, before I even saw the footage in the first fight. When I saw the footage in the first fight, I was like, wow, how did I miss that? But anyway, what I'm saying is when he jumped on him initially, he made certain to hit him with some solid stuff. Now, I'll take you back to the fight between Miguel Cotto and Margarito. If you notice, in the first couple of rounds, the fight was fine. But after that stuff hardened on that man's gloves, after a few rounds, Cotto immediately started like a person who had been hit. I've seen guys with gloves on beat a guy that's just hands tied behind his back, can't move or nothing. That's the same type of damage and infliction on the person's face. You don't see that in boxing unless there's usually something suspect about gloves and hand wraps. There's a certain type of way a person will bust up, cut, things like that. And then when there's knuckle to facial damage, is something totally different. That's the one thing that don't nobody talk about in boxing. I've been talking with Kurt Sugar about it, talked with Scrapbook Boxing about it. These guys know the sport much more than I do. And when guys are getting hit knuckle to face, the wounds are totally different. Totally different.
Well, I mean, let's speak about a guy that knows about bare knuckles and glove boxing because he's done both. Ishe Smith disagrees. He thinks the thing is not a thing. He doesn't believe that the knuckles were in the glove. So, I mean, I could point to, a fighter that's done both.
Well, we got guys like Prince Charles Martin that said that he does believe the knuckle is in the glove. And so does Cunningham. And so does so many other guys. I mean,
and there's a lot of
people that don't even want to comment on this because they want to stay in a good little place and keep their career safe.
We can't say that. You can't say that, Stormy. You can't just put them all in a box and say they all want to stay safe. Am I just trying to be safe? No.
Dude, that's crazy. I see what you're doing, but it ain't going to work with me. They stand in a safe place, okay? There are a lot of guys that feel that they have something to lose if they open their mouths. And this is another reason why they didn't want Wilder in there, because Wilder, if he was sitting back witnessing this for someone else, he would be one of the first ones to stand up and say, hey, something ain't right here. That's one of the reasons they don't even want him in there.
I want to respond to that. I think that, in my opinion, and from watching both fights, and I've watched them both, a number of times already since they happened, for me, the glove looked worse in the first fight, and he went more rounds with Wilder. Hit him more times in the first fight. He had some facial damage, but not a whole lot. So like that's my thing is like, if he's getting hit more in the first fight with a more sketchy glove, then I think we would see more evidence of that in the first fight than the second fight.
Also, the smoking gun was that there was blood on the knuckles, but I've already explained to you that there wasn't blood on the knuckles when they took off the glove and how the blood got on the knuckles.
That wasn't even a smoking gun to the topic of that first fight. That was just something someone spotted, but that wasn't a major part of the piece that's been put together.
You have to admit look, man, if you look at that fight, and I looked at it several times, the punches that did the damage that hurt Wilder were the right hands. That's what hurt him. That's what threw his equilibrium off, from what I saw. And I've seen the fight several times. That's the punch that dropped him. Okay, that's the punch he couldn't recover from. The slapping glove that he did a lot more in the first fight was a non-factor in the first fight, and I don't believe it was a factor in this fight. I just got to be honest with you. And it's not because I'm doing something. Sometimes maybe we just see things differently, okay? But I'm just being honest with what the assessment that I see. And when people say, they tell, like, did I look at things and say, man, that does look bad? But I looked into it, and I have to be honest, right? Look, I already know it's going to make some, people unhappy. That's fine. I'm just calling it for what it is, right? Like for what I see.
I want to know something also. Like, how come Wilder himself or anybody on his team hasn't said anything about this? Or have they? And maybe I just haven't seen it.
It's part of accepting defeat. He ain't got to speak on it. He accepted defeat.
Hey, I mean, that's the way I'm looking at it myself, because I
never
came on
said
I came on this
anything.
channel, I came on my channel, I came on Stormy B's channel, and I predicted Wilder to knock out Tyson Fury in the second fight. Didn't happen, man. So I mean, I think we should just move on, man, and you know, let's look forward to this third fight, man.
I don't think we should move on from the fact that something is fishy about that. And like I said before, if it were on the other foot, there would be people clamoring for Wilder not only to have a decision overturned, but to be jailed. That's the way this country works, man. And I'll tell you two
Facts.
brothers right here on the panel, G Funky and D Style, you still got the complexion for the protection, brothers. You do. And that's a real thing. You don't live that experience totally.
That's a fact.
Well,
You
Stormy,
don't live
hold
that
on.
experience totally.
Let me just
No,
say.
no, listen. Allow me to finish.
Go ahead,
You don't live that experience totally from the perspective of like we do, and you're born from this. It's like, dude, do you know that Champside was doing a video just earlier today, and he was talking about the brother, the fighter whose brother got killed. You know what I mean? The cops like, put your hands up. He was engaged in a fight on the ground or something, and the guy turned, put his hands up, and he shot right away. Dude, that kind of thing, that's the thing that I'm talking about. That Wilder, that's what he would get, and Fury would get a chance to get up, get the cuffs put on him, and get put in the back of the car instead of going in back of the paddy wagon to the morgue. That's the real life experience in America. And here it is on the biggest stage, the World Heavyweight Championship. And the fact that something is wrong, but nobody wants to stand up and say, yeah, it is wrong in unison, because you got people out here that wanted this. They wanted the outcome. They wanted the man who was the champion to be defeated at all costs. And what we're trying to say here simply is, did Fury win? Yes, he won. But under questionable circumstances that should be looked into, not just dismissed, not just pushed to the side where it's like it doesn't matter, because it does. It does.
Look, bro, this is what I'll say, okay? I'm only looking at what I see on the pictures, okay? I'm going by the facts. I explained to you what I saw, okay? If you want to make this about my complexion, that's a totally different topic, bro, okay? Because I don't roll like that in terms of discriminating against fighters or any of that.
I
Okay?
didn't say you did.
No,
I'm saying
no,
that you would get par gras over me if we had a situation and we did the same thing and the crime was meted out and we both had a punishment coming down. They would come down harder on me than you. That's the way this country works, bro. And until you accept that and say, you know what, Stormy, that is true. I mean, come on, we have history of it happening. What do you think the whole thing with the football player, you know, and all of that, taking the knee and all that? What do you think that was for? It's
well, first of all, I mean, I supported Kaepernick
uneven.
when he took a knee. That's number one. Okay, like I understand where you're coming from. Like you're trying to tell me this is a racist nation. It is. Okay. I mean, look, dude, I've been discriminated a lot in my life. Like that's not here nor there in terms of that. I don't want to make this a competition about who gets more discriminated or anything like that. All right. It's do I believe Wilder would be called for him to go to jail? Yes, maybe some racist on YouTube on here would be calling for that. Just like there was a dude making videos on here, like when claiming that Joshua was fouling, you know, Klitschko and this and the third, and hit him behind the head. That's the only reason he won. And I called that dude out when he did that, right? Like I'm just sticking to the facts, bro. Like that's all I'm doing. Right. I agree with you that in the first fight, that glove is way too off. They did pull the glove back in, though. He was trying to get it back in. Right. I do agree with you that glove should be loose. Hold up. that gloves should not be loose. Okay, I agree with you 100%. I agree with you that he got popped dirty in 2015. He's guilty. I agree that if this guy, okay, really did, try to cover up, something that even though he already got caught for it, if he tried to cover it up the way he did, he should be suspended and stripped. I already agree with all that. But this idea that I need to agree that the hand is in the glove, or else I got some issue going on. I don't know what you're trying to say. Like, I'm just seeing what I see, dude. Like, I'm gonna stick to that.
Who said you had to agree?
Hey, but my glove gate, let me say, my glove gate is on that second fight, not the first fight. There was some issues with that glove in its second fight as well. But that's that. That's my point. I ain't arguing it. I'm gonna stick by what I'll stick with. I'm gonna go. I like what I seen from young Pharaoh. I like the evidence he had versus other evidence I see to refute it. I like what he had. The evidence is good. What I've seen. That's what I'm sticking with.
Let me say this. So, in terms of Antonio Margarito, one person that's come on here and accused Antonio Margarito of a lot of things is me. Okay, I called for the dude to be banned and all that good stuff. However, some new stuff has been brought to my attention recently about Antonio Margarito, all right, that's making me question some other things, okay? One, Nassim Mirchin changed his story 3 times. He did not show up to the court, all right, to present any evidence. And it turned out that there really wasn't as much plaster of Paris on the gloves as HBO had initially reported, okay? If anything, there was like a small little grain substance of it that was not enough to harden the wraps, right? And I just, that's another thing which I'm going to report on later, okay? So in terms of Antonio Margarito, because I do feel it's possible, I still got to look at the evidence that I jumped the gun along with a lot of people accusing Antonio Margarito of being guilty of what he did, okay? So I just want to go on record and say that, right? With that said, G Funky, any final words?
Yeah, I would just like to say that I've looked at a lot of the tapes, a lot of the videos that have come out here on YouTube, and I just got to say, man, I just don't think there's enough there for me to say that he definitely cheated with the glove. I just don't think that it would give him an advantage like that to hit somebody with the glove like that. I don't know. I would never try to hit somebody with my hand like that in the glove. As far as what Stormy had said about the complexion thing, just to talk about that for a second, I agree that there is, I agree with a lot of what you said, but I mean, the thing is this, like, I can only speak on my personal experiences in life. I've had my run-ins with law enforcement and the things that I've done in my past in the neighborhood and the people that I grew up with. I can only speak on that, but I just don't think it should be taken that far with this. I think it was just, let's just stick with what we saw in the fight. If there's more evidence that comes out and then they find it, then hey, Fury needs to be held accountable for that, and you won't see G-Funk come on here and make an excuse, or anything like that. If it comes out and there's substantial evidence that shows that he cheated, G-Funk will be the first one to make a video and say, hey, I was dead wrong. Fury cheated, but get him out of here, or do whatever we got to do to him. Suspend him forever, how long it is. But as of right now, from what I've seen and what I've looked from both fights, I don't see enough evidence. The first fight, definitely, there was something wrong with that glove, looked a little bit loose, but I just don't think that it would give him an advantage. I just don't think that. That's my stance on it, man, from looking at everything.
All right, G-Funk. Segue us to this. There was a Showbox card. I understand you did not watch it, which is okay. G-Funk is not as big a boxing fan as me. That's, you could admit that now if you want. No, but in all seriousness, they were fighting an empty arena, and you can hear like the huffing, the puffing, the leather on bone and skin, and the you could hear like it honestly sounded like not seeing the fights or sparring sessions, but it reminded me of sparring sessions. All right. What were your thoughts on that, bro? Like, or on that, and do you think they should do some more fights while we're pending this whole coronavirus thing?
Yeah, I mean, that sounds like the old days, man. When I was a teenager, walking into the gym, hearing the punches land and the guys, grunting and yelling at each other in the ring, and the trainers yelling at the guys and stuff like that. Great memories, man. As far as more fights taking place, I mean, yeah, I would love to see more fights. Obviously, as a hardcore fight fan, I didn't even think that the fights were going to be on Friday night. That's why I just didn't even bother to look. I just thought that they were going to cancel everything. But the thing is this, like, if it's for the betterment of everybody's health, and they just cancel all the boxing events, that are going to be coming up soon, then, I'm all for it, man. I mean, it will suck that we won't have any fights to talk about and things like that, or any new fights. But if it's for the better, then, it's for the better, man. And that's where I'm at right now. We got to protect our families, our elderly, especially the young kids. So, I mean, if we could do our part to, help control this thing, then let's do that, man. I'll put my love for the sport aside for that, but if they decide to go forward and have fights in empty arenas, I'm good with that. I'll still watch it anyway.
Absolutely. What are your thoughts on that, Reggie? In terms
it was odd. Yeah, it was odd seeing like replays. I didn't watch the Friday event, but it was odd seeing these type of fights go down with no one in attendance. The reason behind it is understood, but I think out of the safety for the fighters as well, especially since tests start being conducted, these are some things they need to hold back. But I've watched the UFC event where there was no people, and that's odd. I'm a boxing fan, but I ended up catching that and seeing kind of the same thing. But I don't know, it was just a real odd and eerie feeling. It just shows to me, it shows that there's a greater appreciation for what fans provide. It's just, there's kind of a relationship that balances everything out, because I don't think the performances that I saw were at the highest level. And to me, I think it would be very hard to perform at the highest level when you're not feeling off the energy, whether it's positive or negative. Sometimes you can feed off the negative energy from the opponent's fans, many things that help you to shine. But it's just, we're living in some uncharted times. So this is some new ass experience, and I don't know. That's all I can think about. It was just, everything's just so odd, but it was good that those fighters end up getting the opportunity of being paid, being they were able to go in there and fight. But I hate the fact that I don't know if the fighters are fighting at the best of their abilities under these conditions, and having to suffer losses. It's a win and loss type game, but they know what they come in. There's no excuse when I think about that. But still, I think fighters should be put in environments to where they're there to perform and perform at the highest level, because they're feeding off of energy from a crowd. But that's all I got on that one, even though I didn't see the event, but I know what occurred with it.
But anybody trying to come in and talk shit about other channels, get rid of them, right? Stormy, what are your thoughts on fights being held in empty ballrooms, arenas, / all that good stuff?
I think that it takes away from the sport at the end of the day. I think that these type of sports, the gladiator sports, the fighting art sports, are carried by fanfare and fan presence. The fighters work off of adrenaline. They can feel the adrenaline from the crowd. They can feel the heat and the passion and the desire of the crowd, and they channel that into what they're doing. It's a mental aspect of what they do as well. I think that fighting in empty arenas for these guys who have been fighting professionally, it will have a mental detriment to them, because this is what they've come up knowing. It would be different if someone was just introduced to this and this was the way it is. But having venues with crowds and things like that and being able to feed off the crowd, I think that it could be an understatement to look at it as, with that not being present, that they could still perform at their optimum. Of course, they could eventually get accustomed to that. But right now, it's a tremendous aspect of what they do professionally. So I don't prefer that. I prefer, audience presence and participation. I really know and understand why we're doing it the way that it's being done right now, but I don't think that should just be the mainstay or the way of the future or something like that. I hope that we can get back to the public participation, because that's what it's all about. We go to watch these fights. We pay to watch these fights, whether it's in live or on television or whatever, to be a part of the experience. And I hope that doesn't go away.
Definitely. And you know what? I agree with that. Like, of course, we don't want this to be a long-term thing. I just saw today the White House came out and said that this could possibly, like first of all, they reduced. Remember, it was 250 people and then 50 people. And then now, like, I've seen up to like under 15 or 10, that they don't want that many people gathering. Well, I mean, obviously, if you're at 10, 15, that's the fighters, the corners, and AJ 10's asking if they sing national anthems. Like, nah, bro, we don't need anybody. The less people singing, the better in crowded areas. But anyway, that just leaves room for the girlfriend or the wife or something after that. I mean, while it's interesting, I don't mind it for the smaller fights. It was an interesting experience. We still need crowds there at some point, for sure. So that's it. Anyone have any final thoughts on that situation?
Now, bring the crowds back when it's safe.
When it's safe. I'm glad you said that. When it's safe. Smash that.
I agree. When it's safe.
When it is safe. By the way, there's a D-Style boxing t-shirt. Okay. I'll have those out soon, and check out this one, by the way. Okay. D-Style boxing. Right. So we'll have those t-shirts out there. This is the March 16th edition of Aftermath. Make sure you throw a jab at the like button. We've got 31 people on here. How many of you have pressed the like button? Let me go ahead and check this out right now. Let me check this out right now. I'm checking. I'm waiting. And 26 people. Make sure you're not just staring at me and you jab that like button. All right? Archive or live. Ryan Garcia came out. Hey, G-Funk. Ryan Garcia came out and all of a sudden the coronavirus going on, but he's calling out Tank Davis. And they're both going back and forth on Twitter.
What a coincidence, huh? The coronavirus is shutting everything down, and now everybody wants to go to Twitter and start typing. You know what I'm saying? Keyboard warriors. No, but the thing is this, man. I like what's going on here between these two guys. I think it's getting more and more people interested in a possible matchup in the future between Garcia and Tank Davis. Great fight. And the thing is this, man, as boxing fans now know, we're all going to be sitting at home for most of the time, not doing much these days because of all this crazy stuff going around. But hey, man, let's hold these dudes accountable for the things they're saying here. If they're talking, they want that smoke and this and that. And then, once we get control of all this stuff and everything goes back to normal, hey, we got to bring it back out. Like, hey, what was all this tough talk then? Where's it at now? So we got to do our part with that as fans. Hold these guys accountable for what they're saying. Make them get their behinds in that ring. Get them make sure that they get to the gym, train hard, because I think this is a good fight, man, and I want to see it. So keep talking, guys. Keep on talking, because I'm gonna be looking and I'm gonna be holding you guys accountable for this crap, man. So don't be running out, man, as soon as this coronavirus goes away, or if it goes away at all, whatever's gonna happen. Who knows what's gonna happen in the future? You know, I hope it goes away too, man. But you know, whenever we get back to you know, our normal stuff, you know, these dudes got to get it on at some point, man.
Yeah, a lot of fight. I mean, this is Ryan Garcia came out of left field. I mean, I know they've done it before, but he said, "I want to fight you right now." Bro, you know you can't fight the dude right now. The fucking virus is going on. Like, get the fuck out. Like, man, you're lucky it's coronavirus here. If it wasn't for the coronavirus, I'd go after you right now. Stormy, well, what are your thoughts on Ryan Garcia and Tank Davis going at it on Twitter, full-fledged, full force?
I haven't paid much attention to it, actually, because I look at it as what G Funky indicated, that now that, you know, we got the coronavirus out there and everything's being shut down and everything, it's like that video between the two dogs that was yapping at each other and the fence was open just a few feet away and they wouldn't move over to the opening of the fence, but they stayed right behind the bars of the fence. This is the same thing. These guys, you know, and they figure that at least we could, you know, spur the fans on and get some attention for ourselves and everything. And that's exactly what it's doing. But if they, you know, get in a position where it can actually come to fruition, then we'll see what's really up with them. But right now, it's something, because that, you know, everything is being shut down. So I take it as no more than that.
Man, Reggie, if it wasn't for the coronavirus, bro, I'd be in your front door right now, bro. I'll tell you right now, man, I'll knock you out. If it wasn't for this coronavirus, right? You're lucky it's coronavirus, bro. Isn't that what it sounds like? Like what's going on?
That's absolutely what's going on. These dudes, especially these younger dudes, man, because they play so much into a social media type crowd. And that's the setting, that's the audience that they play for. And this audience drives off of clout chasing. And that's all that's going on. It's a clout chase move. It's a move that feeds the energy of what they call this era, millennials or something, or whatever they call it. They make up generational classes all the time. But whatever this young group that Tank Davis and Ryan Garcia falls in, they thrive off of clout chasing, barking between the fence. When the gate is open and they can walk around it, they bark between the fence. And that's all that's going on. And that's what the coronavirus is the fence that they're barking in front of. I don't know. Oh, is that? I want to see what they've been writing each other. I haven't even seen it, but it's you got a better. Oh, yeah, here go Tank. So Tank Davis, the one engaging it. But and that's the thing with Tank Davis that bugs me about the fact that he ain't fighting Ryan Garcia. He ain't fighting a Devin Haney or a Teofimo Lopez to call out. He's moving down to go fight Leo Santa Cruz, which makes no sense to me. And then also the thing, focus on your goddamn potential opponent. So it's a bunch of clout chasing to me, man.
Look, I'm not going to lie, bro. This is a weak call out. I'm not going to lie. Gervonta Davis, I want to fight now. Let's do it. I don't want to wait. Like, what do you mean, bro? There's a thing called the coronavirus going on. And I know he knows about it because he was tweeting about it, telling everybody to be safe and all that. So it's not like he was ignorant to the fact. Dude, but he definitely knows, okay, that the coronavirus is going on. It's not like the dude doesn't know and shit, right? Look at this. I want to fight now. Let's not wait. And, of course, they're going back and forth. Here are the responses. Relax, little man. It's going to come, and you know it. Like I know it, says Gervonta Davis. I know you aren't calling anyone little, man. I want my shot at your fake-ass title. I want to prove to the world I'm the real champ. So that's what he said there.
Didn't he call him Christopher Reeve or something?
Hey, it's right there. Look at this. You got a better chance of beating the coronavirus than beating me, but whatever. Christopher Reeve. You're all over the place, bruh. We all seen that incident. You'll never be able to. your hand. Ooh. Ah, wow. Well, uh, man, he went deep with that one, though. Yeah, I mean, like, he went personal with that one. But man, Chief Funky, what's going on, bro? Like, you think you think it's a good call out, weak call out? What do you think?
Well, I think it's like we said, man. A lot of barking going on, and we know ain't no smoke going up right now. So they're out there, bumping gums or whatever it is. But like I said, man, we have to hold these dudes accountable, man. You guys want to talk this shit, then hey, guess what? When everything goes away, it's time. It's time to put on your big boy pants. Get in that gym, put in that work, and get your ass in that ring, and let's find out who the better man is. I'm tired of the talk. That's at that point I'm gonna be tired of the talk. Right now, it's entertaining and it's something to look at while there's no fights or no sports going on. But Yep. It's got to happen, man. Now these dudes are doing way too much. Oscar's running his mouth too, so we got to hold him accountable as well. You want to put your fighter out there. You want to call out other promoters and things like that. Then you know what? You're going to be held accountable too, man. I'm coming after everybody, man. I'm coming after all of them. I want everybody to hold up their end of the bargain here.
Absolutely. And maybe one day they'll fight. You know what I mean? And we'll do this show. We'll do Aftermath. All right. And remember, 10 p.m. Eastern Time every Monday. We got the Batman theme going today. All right. Tomorrow, A Puncher's Chance with Ashy Knuckles. Why so serious? This is boxing. All right. So make sure you guys don't miss that show. Ashy back from, where was he at again? Jamaica. So, I don't know. Ashy's going to come back with a
match. In Jamaica.
What's that?
He was in Jamaica.
Yeah. And hopefully, like, what's up, man? What's you were only there a week, Ashy. But make sure you guys don't miss that. I want to talk about something real serious, man. People have been talking about it, but this coronavirus, aka COVID-19, and its ongoing effect. Look, they've been reducing the amount of people that they want to see gathered, but I'm seeing. I don't know if you guys saw it, man. There's this. I don't know if it's viral or not. Hopefully, it's not. I saw this disgusting video of this girl that was in a plane, and it said coronavirus challenge, and she licked the toilet, like where people sit down, and like smiled and turned off the camera. And I jokingly said, but I might not be wrong. I said, yeah, we're all gonna die. We're all gonna like this is unbelievable. Hopefully that's not a thing. Okay, don't like what's the generation before the millennials, Reggie? What's the name again?
X or Generation X, I think.
No, that's the ones after us, but that's after the millennials. Like, I'm technically a millennial. I'm 36, but whatever. But whatever it is, Generation X or Y, isn't it Y? Generation Y. But man, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. That generation is gonna get us all killed, bro. Right? It's gonna get us all killed, right? So, but Stormy, what are your thoughts on just that? Like, I know there's not a lot to say other than that. That's disgusting, but you think it's possible? I mean, they were eating Tide Pods at one time, or whatever you call it, the shit to the laundry detergent shit at one time. So I don't know what the hell's wrong with people, but if this becomes a trend, like, well, what's just your thoughts about that?
Well, my thoughts are that we're at a real critical point in our existence with the fact that people are detached emotionally from one another socially. Even in a time where, like, if you take it back to my parents who were in their youth in the 60s, as hot and volatile as the world was, and you had the Cuban Missile Crisis, you were coming beyond the Korean War and World War II. The one thing that this country could always hang its hat on at the end of the day was a sense of compassion at the essence of everything. Even during the civil rights movement, there were a number of people who contributed to assisting the movement behind the scenes and everything, whether they didn't want themselves to be revealed openly and things like that. So there was a thing called compassion. However, now we live in a toxic society where there's so much insensitivity, where technology has come to the forefront and it has occupied the frontal lobe of the common man, woman, and child. At no other time in history had you seen something so preposterous as that you could go out to a restaurant for dinner and you could see a table of 4 sitting there. Everybody is on their phone and nobody is engaging with one another. Okay. Whereas you see an older group like ourselves and we'd all be sitting there having a conversation with each other. So when you see that as a problem, you can read where we can fall into the tremendous pitfalls as a society and as a whole, where that insensitivity takes precedent. Even in with this coronavirus situation and people going out to stores to stock up on things because they have been told that they may have to be self-quarantined or be in a home for a month, if not beyond, or whatever, you could see people not being neighborly in the stores and being aggressive toward one another and everything, and being very selfish and just not having any type of consideration that beyond their own circle or space. That's very troubling, because that's exactly the type of leadership we have in this country. And remember, crap runs down, it doesn't run up. So that's the example that you have that's set before you. And when someone in such a position of responsibility or whatever exercises the same mentality, the people take the pulse of that leader, right or wrong. And the thing about it is, this conversation is not being had enough, because if you could actually get someone to think outside the box and see their lives for what it really is, then maybe people can reignite that spirit of compassion again. Because as the things that we're facing, I think the world is forever changed because of this situation right here. Going forward, we're not going to return to who and where we were before this. We're not. The world is forever changed, but it only takes the mature mind who has seen some things and experienced some things, and also the mature mind that may be younger but wants better out of life and everything, to be connected, to get through this. Because I'm telling you, a lot of people will lose their lives on foolishness alone, and ignorance. So this is how I see it. And the thing is, all it takes is for someone to open themselves up to learn. And when I say learn about what is it going to take for us to get beyond this successfully, you see? And the only way to do it is together. But people won't see it that way until they're put in dire straits. And sometimes by the time you get put in dire straits, it may be a little too late. But you can learn also by the lessons that where we failed as a people in the past. The only way to get through this is together. But people have to realize that. And some people, they're dead to that. But not everybody. It's not hopeless, because if it was hopeless, we would not be here. But we still have an opportunity. And I hope that people waken to that, because time is ticking.
I'm gonna post this pic, and look, it is disgusting. Just I want to give everybody a warning. But so if you want to look away, look away. I'm just gonna put it up for about 10 seconds. Okay, I'm gonna put the picture up right now. This is what this girl did, bro. Okay, that is absolutely disgusting. Okay, don't do that. Okay, any parent, okay, that sees their kids engaging in the coronavirus challenge, okay, should be allowed to beat the shit out of their kids. Okay, this is disgusting, guys. Okay, don't do that. Okay, the picture's off, by the way. Right, but don't do that. Okay, don't do it. Right. And another thing I want to kind of show people here. Well, while I pull it up, Reggie, give us some thoughts on that. I know that's some disgusting shit, but just in general, what message do you have for people?
Shit, Stormy B laid it out too thick. I can't really add nothing to it, man. He laid it out, man, and it was even with the point where you bring up about our society's so disconnected from each other. And I realized that shit early on, back when because when I went to the military, all this technology shit didn't exist. When I get out, start getting out back in civilian world and shit, because we did everything regular. My thing was functioning with people, conversation, communicate. When I get back, everybody's on this Skype ish and all this other. So you're in the club, the chicks asking for your Skype. I'm like, I don't do none of that shit. I'm a conversationalist, and everything's just whacked out. And it's just like people's minds are stuck up their asses when it comes to the way they interface with technology, and a lot of things are lost. And even speaking on what you're speaking about, the way society's acting, going to the stores. And I seen that right before we came on, going into Sam's Club once again and seeing the same selfish type behavior, not being selfless and worry about others in society, not over accumulating things. People don't give a damn. But it's nothing I can add. Stormy said everything detailed. It was real deep stuff. But yeah, that's all I got. I agree totally with everything that was stated.
Can you imagine me that dude's that girl's boyfriend and like seeing that?
Man, that's why I don't kiss these hoes. I flip them over. That's about it.
I was just gonna say that, D Style. She's gonna make someone a great first wife.
Can you imagine? Like all bullshit aside, guys. Like, she's older now and has 4 or 5 kids, and her kids look at this and they're like, "Is that mom? The fuck?" Like, don't these kids, like, the internet's forever. It's forever, right? Like, what are you doing? Plus, that disgusting. Like, before somebody goes, "Hey, it's her life. Let her do whatever she wants." Okay, shit like that is the reason we get these fucking viruses and illnesses, and it gets passed on to people. Stop doing it, because yes, it does affect everybody. Okay, enough. Oh no, G-Style, don't say anything about them eating bats. And what do you mean? I'm gonna say something about it because I don't want them to do that. Okay, she's like 16, probably seen and unseen. This is like, we should all agree that licking toilets is not a good thing. Okay?
That reminds me, D-Style, like, in Florida, when they have the bad hurricanes that move through in hurricane season and stuff, and they tell people what to do. If you're going to bunker down. If you're going to get to a safe place, you get to a safe place. But there's always an idiot out there in the midst of the storm walking his dog or something, and then the rescue team got to go and save his ass. And it's like they put their lives in jeopardy to save an idiot who could have been locked away, but he's out there with his dog, walking him on a leash, and they're blowing around in there and they're yelling for help. And it's like, you got to send a work crew out there now to save these guys. It amazing. That's the same thing. If we could eliminate that mentality right there, we would be ahead of the game. I'm telling you.
This reminds me, bro, years ago, back in like 2006, okay, I was working telemarketing, and I was and there was a hurricane going on in the area where the dude calls me, satellite TV, okay, and the guy goes, "My satellite isn't working. I want to get updates about the hurricane," right? Well, sir, I could update you right now, like you're literally in the middle of a hurricane. You know what I mean? Like, you're there, like you've been updated. Okay. But he's like, no, I wanted to work. Come on, I'm the customer. I'm right. And he's like, come on, like I'm in a hurry. My wife, my kids, my grandkid, they're all in the basement right now waiting for me to give them this news. Maybe you should go to the fucking basement, bro. Okay? Like there's nothing to know. You're like, what are you doing? You know, but you know, people like, I don't know what like what what you want me to tell you got a minute or 10 minutes before the hurricane smashes your house? I don't know. All right? This shit's ridiculous. But yeah, you're right. There's always that one dude, you know, and for the reporters, there's no need for you to be in the middle of the hurricane. Like, we believe you. There's a hurricane. Okay? You know, like, and look at the hurricane. It's really bad. And like, what are you doing? Like, just go inside. Go to the studio. We believe you. Okay? Like, I know there's people out there that don't believe anything unless they see it. Like, I think the hurricane is bullshit. Like, no, like thousands, hundreds of thousands, not millions of people are going through it. It's real. Okay? But B&B says, let him lick the toilet. They can hurry up and get the hell out of here. Yeah, B&B, but what if she has a boyfriend and she kisses him and he catches something and he starts sneezing and then he sneezes on you or someone you know? And so I get what you're saying. But unfortunately, viruses, diseases, you know, I'm just saying. Okay. But there's consequences for that. You know what I mean? But I get it. Let evolution do its thing. But, you know.
Coronavirus or no coronavirus, you should never be licking a toilet seat. Period. I mean, it's ridiculous that people even have to say that. Like, why do we even have to say that? That's something that you should just know. Like this whole thing with the washing of the hands now. I mean, like, that's something I've been doing my whole life. Like, why do people have to be reminded to wash your fucking hands? I mean, excuse my language, but seriously, I mean, man, this is crazy, man. We don't get our shit together, man. It's gonna get worse, like you said, man.
But G Funky, you have to also look at the fact that just a couple years ago, we were asking why were people eating those Tide soap pods? You know, take the Tide soap pod challenge or whatever. It's like, really? I mean, people are just living with no brain activity, man. It's just everything is just try something on impulse. You know, they don't have no fear of death or consequences or anything like that. And I think it's based purely on sheer ignorance, because the thing about it is we all witness death. You see people die and then they're here no more or whatever. But I don't think this generation that participates with this type of mentality have really understood or taken in what that means, that, you know, mortality, what it actually means, and the fact that what life has to offer. We are so far removed. And I told you, I think it's based on this technology, because the technology saps your ability to use better judgment and to use your sensibilities. Because remember, we are the only creatures here on earth that were given objectivity. Everyone else, all the other animals and everything on this earth, they do things off of instinct. But we have objective thinking. But when you put something like a computer or these devices and everything in the midst of a person, like I said, the frontal lobe, it locks down. It shuts down. And it's like they become slaves to this. I've seen people walk doing their phone in their hand into traffic and get hit by cars. Adults, grown people. What the hell? You walk right into danger. There have been people who've fallen over cliffs. There have been people who have hurt themselves tremendously. That device. I'm driving past people every day on my commute to work, and I look over and somebody is like this, and they can't even go in traffic because they're so tied up. And I honk my horn at people sometimes. And when they look at me, I do like this. I put my fingers to my eyes like this and do like this. Hey, eyes on the road, heads up. You're going to kill somebody out here, or you get killed yourself. It's like it's amazing, bro. And I don't know how we get away from that unless somebody set the reset button and we go back to the dark ages and you don't have those devices anymore. Then you have to form critical thinking all over again.
Yeah, I agree about the cell phone, bro. It's bad. Okay. And Andrew Charles, I appreciate that. It says D Style, Chief Funky Stormy, Reggie, salute. I appreciate the support as always. Look, I want to talk about, speaking of devices and all that. So Russ Hamner got mad at me. Okay. You guys are going to see why. Okay. So he posts this. So this comes from a friend of mine who is of the belief that the COVID-19 virus is directly related to the rollout of 5G. Can anyone shed any light on this? Has anyone else heard the same? Is it possible that Corona is linked? And he provides this map. Okay? That's what he does. All right? And I respond. I said, please watch this, Russ. It's way more informative. How would you feel if I told you how gloves worked? Now listen to the scientists about this. All right? And he says, I appreciate the Australian 60-minute report, saw it already. All I did was ask in order to be better informed. I did not try to tell anyone anything. Not sure how your comment is regarding the gloves is inappropriate. I don't know how that is. I was actually complimenting him for knowing about gloves. Because as you guys know, I use them as a source in the Oster-Rivas Dylan White situation, okay? Someone put correlation not equal causation, and I put, it's not even a correlation. It's not 5G. It's not like 5G was first launched at the markets in China where this started. I hope he didn't take offense, but I just feel it's best to listen to scientists/experts, okay? As you guys can see here, by the way, it's a good map to look at. Hubei or Hubei, however you pronounce that, is where this started. Okay, there's 67,000 incidents there. You guys can look at the infected. You can look at the recovered and the deaths. That is a good sign, by the way. It's also a good sign that you see how they contained it in other areas. Okay, Italy looks like an outlier so far. Hopefully, I hope they could contain it. Of course, we just don't want everyone to have the same issue. But that's just as of 3 days ago, by the way. So that is a little outdated. Just saying. There was Iceman Scully, who I'm actually a fan of, but he told me to calm down. Where's he at? Let me see. Well, anyway, I responded. I said, no, 5G did not cause coronavirus. There's not even a hypothesis scientists are considering. That map doesn't even consider areas where 5G has been launched. It's just coloring coloring an entire nation. But Reggie, well, what do you make of people starting this 5G conspiracy? It looks like Alex Jones started it, but I don't know if you've even heard about that. But what are your thoughts on that?
This is all part of that because everybody's feeding it off the internet. Part of that Russian troll, Russian bot shit that was going on during the last election, 2012 elections, or whenever the elections was, 2016. This is what is going on. It's probably the Russians feeding a lot of stuff into sites that people are searching, laying out elaborate details, making it sound convincing, and people are buying into whatever they want. People love the conspiracy theory. People don't want to buy into actual science. They rather go off into hearing what non-scientific people would throw out before they listen to actual scientists. It goes back to what Storm Beeman was talking about, man. We just live in the idle-minded type world, man. That's the current state of shit. People feed into whatever soothes them rather than it being the truth. And a lot of people are soothed by lies. I don't know where the hell somebody got that from, but it's just a delusion in which we live amongst certain people. I'm glad I ain't delusional like a lot of people, and that I question shit all the time. But some people are just lost, man, and that's just the way it is. They're just lost, and hopefully they stay lost, and maybe they'll suffer in their loss, in how lost they are. They'll be confused and lost and unable to, who knows, fend for themselves if shit gets that bad. So they can blame it on that. I'm gonna listen to what the science say.
Yeah. Well, what are your thoughts on that? This G Funk. What are your thoughts on that, bro?
Yeah, man. It's been a little crazy the last week. Hearing all these theories, conspiracy theories, and stuff like that. Um, yeah, it's I don't know, man. I mean, to me, there's no doubt, man. It's a well known fact that these kind of viruses, they come from animals, man, and it's already been linked to the Chinese wet market over there in central China. So I mean, until somebody can prove that wrong and prove that this 5G, is causing this stuff, but I just haven't seen it. So I'm not gonna believe that. Other reports of these Chinese these guys in the Chinese government coming out saying that the United States cooked this thing up in a lab and they released it there. I mean, here's the thing, man. Like a lot of these people who put these things out, they don't even trust this government.
Right.
So why would you trust the Chinese government? That just doesn't make sense to me. Like, right? Like I don't know, man. I mean, for me, the scientific evidence is there. This thing came from some bat that people hunted and sold in this market. They have all these different wild animals living next to each other in this closed space. They're just asking for it, man. And I know what you said earlier about how D-Style, you're not being sensitive to people's culture or whatever. I mean, that has nothing to do with that, man. It's about being safe, and these markets are not safe, man, when they're doing these things. I mean, you see these animals stacked up on top of each other. I mean, defecating on top of one another. Like I said, you get animals from one part of the earth next to an animal from another part. They have no business being next to each other.
Right.
Sharing viruses. It's insane, man. Like there has to be a regulation on this thing, man. Now I know that they did that before after the SARS breakout, 15 or whatever, how long ago it was, 17 years ago. Yep. But then right away they brought it back in. It's really because of money, and that's how these markets started, these wildlife markets, because the Chinese economy was bad and it was really, really bad. People were dying in the 70s, and they allowed people to farm these animals and sell them out in these markets, and just to make money to survive. But look what it's doing, man. It's causing these viruses, and it's killing people, man, making people very sick. And until I see some other proof of something else, and I'm open. Here's the thing, man. I'm not one of these guys. I'm not like narrow-minded. I'm very open-minded to a lot of things, and I'll hear everything, man. But there has to be something there. You know what I'm saying? There has to be something there, man, for me to, really believe it, man. And I'll listen to anybody, man. If there's any theories out there, I mean, I'm open to see it, man. But as of right now, my stance is, I'm going to go with what the scientific data says, and that's my stance on it.
I want to address a couple of things. So, look, you're correct. The pangolin are wild animals that the Chinese people eat and sold in the some market. But there are scientists that while they don't know the exact how it, they know it kind of came from that, but they don't know how the disease came about. Because we could tell who gave it to us, which animal, but sometimes they don't know how the animal got it or something. But they do believe that the bat is just an example of the type of food they're eating. Okay, we have had diseases from bats. It is believed that the bat could have contributed the disease to the pangolin and from there to us. But even if it wasn't, they're just eating a lot of these wild animals that, in my opinion, we shouldn't be eating. Okay, and look at what it's causing right now. So I just wanted to kind of address that really quick. But the reason, and I don't know if Russ Amner thought I went at him, but I felt I was very respectful, but whatever. Okay. That's just not a question you should ask. Right. Like here you are, someone who's respected in the boxing world, you know what I mean? Who wraps guys' hands and stuff like that. And then you're going on asking this question as if it's a legitimate question. And it's not like in the internet. Yet you're going to get people say, "Oh yeah, totally, it's definitely from the 5G." Like you're giving some legitimacy to it when there's nothing there. 5G. Well, look, I'll be honest with you guys. We don't know the long-term effects of these devices. We don't. Okay, it could be nothing. It can be cancer. It could there could be some links there, but it's not the coronavirus. Okay, like that's not what that is. We know where the coronavirus came from. It came from China, right? And it's not like this province, this rural part of China is where 5G was first launched or something. You know, like if it's a 5G, then basically what you're saying is staying at home is more dangerous. You know what I mean? Because you're staying in a very secluded area with using 5G and stuff. I mean, come on, it's ridiculous, guys. And there's no correlation to it, much less causation. It's ridiculous, man. But do any of you see any validity to the 5G?
I think what started it. I could be wrong, but I remember seeing some things on social media of people posting these photos of these guys building these 5G towers, and they have on these these suits. You know, they almost look like astronauts. You know, and they're like,
right.
You know, and they're like, look at this, man. Like, look what they got to wear just to put these things up, man. Like, there's got to be something there. They're gonna poison all of us, and you know, I mean, it just to me, it just seems a little far fetched, you know. And I mean, like I said, I'll sit down and listen to it. If anybody's got anything out there, anybody in the chat, if you guys have anything on this 5G thing that you think is solid proof, email it to me at gfunky84boxing@gmail. I'll take a look at it, man. I mean, but at this point in time right now, it's really, and again, I see some people in the comment section. You know, I'm not trying to blame bats for this. It's not the bats' fault. It's people hunting these bats and selling them in these markets is the problem. You know, the bats are good. They're good for the ecosystem, man.
Dude, I love bats. Look, it's Batman week, bro. You know what I mean? It's all good. But
I have something to say on it. Just a little small something. First and foremost, what I was talking about earlier taps right into that. What we're talking about the 5G and where I said our society has gone, the fact that people, the frontal lobe has shut down. See, we are, as much as anyone wants to try to educate themselves on this, we are beings of energy, okay? And as we have come around in society and mankind has tampered with different sources of energy, eventually he will be destined to destroy himself because he's going to come to a place where he's going to mess with a certain type of energy that overcomes him. We were supposed to be what was special about this whole process, regardless of whether someone wants to believe that, acknowledge it or not. And now that they have come up with 5G takes things to a different level. Now, I'm not into the science aspect of 3G, 4G, 5G, but I can definitely ascertain that it has moved to a total different wave. And because man has dumbed himself down through this technology, 5G being a greater source of energy and power is going to be that thing that causes a problem for mankind because so many people have been robbed of sensibility. It goes hand in hand. If you ever saw the film The Matrix, that's kind of like what that was about. But this is something that has become real for us in our society. And as we venture into that, it's going to take people who are not totally submissive to the devices, to the energies of what AI does and all of that, to keep it real and to keep it appropriate for themselves. And as we move forward, you're going to see it's going to. Think about it. People cannot let this go. You understand? Small kids can get up and start playing with a phone that they've never had in their hand before and work it after a couple of days better than you can. What that tells you is the capacity of our minds is tremendous. But maybe, just maybe, we should not be channeling our energies into these devices. You heard me speak earlier about our insensitivity toward one another and everything. We're not giving each other the love and prosperity and compassion that we should be giving each other. We're giving it to machines and things that we don't have total knowledge of. And that's what's going to be our downfall. You can succumb to something through illness and everything. You know why? Because you're burning your energies up in the wrong manner. And a lot of people don't think about it that way. But it is open for discussion to start to look at this for what it is and what role do you play in it. It's too late for someone like myself. I'm older in life, but at the same time, what they're going to do with this new energy, people should be concerned with that, because as they can sell you on, oh, it's going to make life so much easier for you and this and that or whatever. But what is it taking from you? What is it taking from you? That's the thing. What is the true benefit for you at the core, at the essence? And that's not the answer that we have arrived at yet. But by the time we do, it may be too late.
It's well said. And look, in terms of 5G, I mean, those are some phenomenal points. But to kind of also add on, like I first said, I'm not saying there is or there isn't in terms of what can happen, but we don't know the long-term effects physically, you know, like in terms of can it, you know, cause more cancer? Can it, like, whatever it is, with these devices? Okay. The fact of the matter is a lot of, you know, energy is being transmitted with these devices, whether it's, you know, Bluetooth and Wi-Fi, and it appears like they have no physical harm to us. But we don't know the long-term effects. So I'm just acknowledging that, just to say that, no, coronavirus is not what's causing this. This is not causing coronavirus. I mean, but, you know, in terms of, you know, issue with our society, dude, you can't talk to people anymore without, you know how many conversations I started and I just stopped midway because they're looking at their fucking phone. Like I ain't going to talk to you. You're looking at your phone. Like, could you imagine I'm doing a show and one of my hosts is talking and I'm like this with my phone? What you say, Reggie? What was that again? Can you repeat that? Well, what? Hold on. What'd you say again? Like, you know what I mean? Can you imagine that?
That's normal shit these days, man.
People do that, bro.
Yeah.
Like, people do, like, it's insane, dude. Like, they just pull up their phone and they hear a word that catches their attention. Like, wait, what? What? You know what I mean? Yeah, and it's annoying. And then you start talking to them, and like 5 seconds later, go ahead. You were telling me you're talking about what are we talking about? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not gonna waste my breath. How about that? Okay. Aaron P says RIP toilet paper. Toilet paper will be okay. All right. Agent 10, I am a single dude. I can't take someone seriously if they pull up the phone mid a conversation. No. Don't do it. These things are distracting, man. And we're all guilty of it to a certain degree. But there's some people that just way out there. Okay? Like, way out there. And you know what else, dude? I don't know if you guys have ever, like, been on your phone and, like, you're like this. Oh, fuck, it's 3 a.m. Like, you know what I mean? Like, time just flies by. And I'm just saying. Okay? But
hey, that happens every time I'm watching a video from D-Style, Story B Man, or Reggie. I'll be catching you guys late night sometimes, man. I'm not gonna lie.
hey, this is what you guys got to do, bro. You got to go to the videos. If you're watching an archive, you can play them at like 1.25 speed or something, and you'll adjust to it, and it'll go by faster, but you get the whole show. You know what I mean? So you can listen to more shows, right? I play some at 1.5 speed. Okay, so you can listen to the whole thing and stuff in shorter period of time. It's just a recommendation. I'm just saying, while you're listening to archive, throw a jab at the like button okay, while you're at it. Okay, 37 likes, get me to 40 likes. There's 3 people on here listening that been listening, been entertained, and they haven't pressed the damn like button. Okay, like what if that coronavirus hits you tomorrow and you can't give me any likes for a couple of weeks? You know what I mean? Make the likes count. Jab the like, all right? But here's what I want to say, and I'll let everyone give their final word on this coronavirus thing. So here's what I want to say, right? We don't know how serious the coronavirus is going to be, okay? I believe it's already serious, but we don't know how much more serious it's going to get. You know, I don't want anyone to panic and overreact. I don't want anybody to underreact either, though. You know, even if you're personally feel like, you know what, I'm young, I'm healthy, I'll be okay. Keep in mind the elderly around you. Keep in mind the children around you, those with weak immune systems who just have that and stuff like that. Keep them in mind as well. You protecting yourself is protecting them as well. Okay. A lot of these things are common sense. Washing your hands is common sense. Okay. Wash your damn hands. Right. I can't believe I'm going to do this, but I'm going to do it anyway. Okay. When you wash your hands, you wet your hands, and then you get the soap and you scrub here too. Okay. This is where a lot of the diseases come from. All right. And all the way up to your forearm, might as well. You know what I mean? Just scrub at least 20, 30 seconds or something. I usually do with warm water myself, and then wash away the soap. It's about the scrubbing. It's about the soap. It's not about the water. Not that you just turn on the water, huh? You get your hands wet. Just touch the soap a little bit, and you're done. Nah, bro, don't do that. Make sure you wash your hands. So I can't believe I'm saying that, but for anybody that needs to hear that, please, dude, okay? Wash your damn hands. If you have hand sanitizer, use it. Okay. If you don't have any, don't panic. If you just wash your hands, you should be okay. Right. Just don't touch your face and stuff. But if it makes you feel more comfortable, there's ways to make hand sanitizer. Look it up. Okay. Just go ahead and do that. All right. Wash between your fingers. Thank you, AJ10. All right. On a boxing show, I'm explaining to people how to wash their fucking hands. All right. Make sure you do that. But here's the thing, man. We're fight fans. We're boxing fans here, right? So if you're going to get the fight, be ready for that fight. Because there's one thing we boxing fans understand is fight, right? We understand preparing for one. And this is a fight we're all going to have to tackle, right? And what are you going to do if you get the virus? You can do everything right, you know, and still get the virus because someone else can give it to you. Okay. So are you prepared for that? Are you ready for that? Let me ask you guys, anyone listening to this, an honest question. A lot of you have bought the things to prevent you from getting the virus. How many of you have bought things in case you get the virus? How many already have a plan in place in case you do get the virus? You know, like what are you planning to do? You need to start thinking about those things. Get ready for this fight. In case you get it, to go ahead and fight that, because I don't want to see anybody gone, you know, because of this virus, man. Right? Make sure you get ready for that fight. Okay? Overcome it. The survival rate's good, but be serious about it. All right? And throw the jab at that like button. But with that said, let's start with you, Reggie Owens. Anything you want to say to people regarding the virus, you know, in case they get it? You know what I mean? You pump people up, bro. Give them an inspirational speech on what they should do.
Take your asses to the hospital. Get evaluated, get checked out, get opinions from the doctors, not your damn friends. Because even as much as I'm one of those people who don't buy into wanting to hear the opinions of doctors, I try to resist it. It may be out of a little bit of fear, but I know when shit get real, who the hell I'm running to. I'm going right to the damn hospital to get checked out because I'm not medically trained, don't study any of these bacterias.
Don't ask on Twitter.
Don't ask on Twitter, because when I caught that flu this year, and even though I didn't go to the hospital, I was just too sick to even get to one. If this thing is worse than that shit, you don't want to experience that shit. And I'm seeing the way everyone's preparing for it. this thing is worse than what they can tell us. They can't tell us the truth of it because you already seen how people have reacted to it. The panic people are going into. They put out the truth of what's behind this this pandemic or this virus here. It'll probably really send people into uncontrolled fear. It'll really collapse this economy, and that's one of the other reasons why they can't put out too much of the raw and uncut information. Some things you just got to keep out the public, and if they did it, as we see the economy already kind of tail spinning, it'll send us into a deeper tailspin, something worse. And the people who probably have the crucial information are these top level corporations, these governors, these mayors. They know exactly what's going on. They're speaking with these CDC medical professionals, and the shit must be real. So, I mean, I feel people when they act like this, they don't want to listen. It's just people who, that's common with dudes. It's common with dudes who avoid medical attention, avoid getting checked out, avoid getting evaluated. But right now, this shit killing people, and people want to, oh, it's a 3%, blah, blah, blah. That 3% shit is going to change. This country is ill prepared, and this is what we speak about. This country, I'm going to be short, about this country's setup of its medical system. It shows how fractured the system is, and this is why it's failing. We're short on test equipment, short on medical equipment, and we don't have antivirus that can fight this thing. So this is the reason why you take this shit serious, but that's all I have.
Yeah, don't be like Kawanaki and just try to tough it out. Like, I'm going to stay home and tough it out. Because that thing's going to keep hitting you, bro. Okay? What to expect. This is what I've seen. Okay? A lot of doctors are reporting the following. So a lot of people that get coronavirus, there's some people that just get it and it just feels like a flu or like a really bad cold and it goes away. Those people are lucky. Okay? But you could still spread it to somebody else. Right? But of course, the elderly are very vulnerable to it, young people as well. But, and by young, I mean like toddlers and stuff like that. But keep in mind, it's from what I read, a lot of people, like it'll start as a cold, okay, for a couple days or so. And then it kind of like subsides. It kind of goes away. And then you get like a bad fever. And then it starts feeling like a flu. And then it gets even worse with respiratory issues. Okay, so it's kind of like it's like a soft hit. It kind of like hits you with a jab, then a right hand, then it comes back with a hook. So you better be ready for those things, man. Like I'm telling you right now. So just be prepared for it. Do you have, like, in case you do get a cold? It might just be a cold, but do you have Tylenol at home or something? Because I went to the store, bro. They were packed with all that, right? Tylenol, Advil, like all that good stuff. I saw Jay Cooley earlier. You get Theraflu, whatever. But I saw all that in this, like, no toilet paper, but a bunch of that, at the Walgreens. So just be prepared for that. You know what I mean? Preparation is everything. And just, I'm just saying, right? Stormy, any final words in regards to the virus? Any advice?
No, I think I pretty much spoke on what I had to say about it in detail. I just hope that everybody's able to maintain their discipline, stay steadfast in looking out over your loved ones and your neighbors, and remember the compassion that we need to survive. Because if you're going into this situation and you're thinking and looking at life through a selfish lens, that's a very quick way to find yourself on the negative side of things. But if you become more selfless in the approach of this, you may find that you can inspire someone or assist someone to maintain and do their best.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that I could say. And hopefully people take heed to that.
Most definitely, man. And G-Funk, I mean, you've been impacted in terms of your job and stuff like that. So what words do you have? What have you done to stay safe? And do you already have like a plan set in case you do get it?
Man, I always have plans set because I got a little one here at the house. So, last year in November, I got the flu, and I just thank God that I didn't pass it on to her. Both my wife and I had it, and we somehow, some way, kept it away from our daughter, who is special needs, by the way. So it was very difficult to try to keep her away from that flu. But we did our best, man. I mean, we just minimized the being around her as much as we could. Every time we got near her, we washed our hands. We kept masks on the whole time. But as far as this virus goes, I mean, we're starting to get more and more information on it. Still not enough as of yet. I don't think we'll get the full data on this thing anytime soon. But just like you guys said, be prepared, man. I've already got some medicine here that I bought from the store recently. So, I'm prepared if something happens here. And, just the key thing is, man, just stay at home, man, if you're sick. I mean, period. Don't try to tough it out, go to work, things like that. I mean, these things are very, very contagious. I mean, if it's anything like the flu, I mean, it's very, very contagious. I mean, I remember one time I went to work, this girl who was, she worked in the office, literally got half the warehouse sick within 2 days. She came in, she's like, "Oh, my throat hurts, and I don't feel so good." I'm the first person to tell her, "Why don't you just go home?"
Was she making half the office? What's going on?
No, with she touches a lot of the stuff that the workers have to touch, and half the warehouse, there's like 12 of us, a crew of 12 of us, half the warehouse got it 1 week. And then, I was the first wave that got it. So I was off the whole week. I come back to work the next week and the rest of the warehouse is gone because they all had it that week. Wow. I mean, it is highly contagious, man. So if it's anything like the flu, man, just please stay home, man. I mean, I've gotten into shouting matches with people over this type of stuff. Even when they come in with just a little, like the sniffles to work, I'm like, man, why are you here? Like, dude, you got, especially people who got sick time. They don't want to use their sick time. They want to come in like, dude, take your ass home. Like, what is wrong with you? Yeah. So just please, man, if you're sick, stay home. Stay away from your older relatives, or if you have any relatives that are sick with, and it doesn't matter what age they are, if they have cancer, diabetes, those kind of things, just stay away from them. Don't be selfish and try to go and do things, just because you want to go hang out with some people, whatever. Just keep your ass at home. Bottom line, and wash your damn hands. All right. I mean, it's crazy that we have to tell people that. It's crazy to me. Like, I couldn't even come in my house. Like when I was a kid, I'd be outside playing. I couldn't even walk through the door. The first thing I heard from my parents and my grandparents was, "You better go wash your damn hands right now. Before you touch anything, you go straight to the bathroom and wash your damn hands." And I was raised that way. And, you just can't assume that everybody else is raised that way, man. I've seen people do some dirty stuff in my life. I mean, I've been in meetings at works where, I'm telling you guys, I'm working in a warehouse. Serious work here. We got gloves on. We're touching dirty stuff. These guys will go to this conference that we're having with the gloves on, open up a pizza box, and eat a damn slice of pizza with the gloves on. Disgusting, man. Disgusting. Like, people do shit like that, man. And they wonder why stuff like this happens, man. You guys just, man, be clean. Clean yourself up, like D-Style said. 20, 30 seconds under some warm water. Get that soap, lather it up. Get all around the hands, the knuckles, the wrist, in between the fingers, your fingernails. You should be cutting your damn fingernails anyway, but, hey, take all the proper precautions, man. And, the kids especially, man. Be aware from them and the sick people, man. So take care of yourself, man. That's all I got to say. Thank you for having me on, man.
Most definitely, man. Look, Big Dog Willie, I mean, is out there. He's close to the front lines about this, so we appreciate him. When he's come on and let us know what's going on and stuff like that. Hopefully you're all right, bro, and we appreciate any update you can give us at any time. I'd like to have you on like on Thursday or something, unboxing conversation with Reggie Owens, and just to see what's going on, man. Any updates and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Because I can't believe any of the shit I see in the news. So. I'm just saying. And look, I agree, AJ10. We're all guys here, bro. We all seen dude just take a piss and walk out. You know what I mean? They take a piss and then they just walk out of the restroom.
Nasty as hell, man. This one guy, we knew, everybody in the workplace knew he does that, right? So one day this guy comes up to me, he's got his fist out, like he wants to give me like a little fist pound or something, right? So I'm like, what's up? And he keeps shaking his fist at me. I'm like, well, what is that? He turns his hand over, opens up his hand. This guy's got peanuts in his hand, right? Out of the shell peanuts. Like, here, like, have some. Like, I got some peanuts here for you. Man, I slapped those damn peanuts out of his ass. I said, man, I need no dirty ass peanuts. What the hell's wrong with you, man? But the thing is, I'm sure somebody probably did take a couple of them peanuts before he got to me. And again, this is a guy who's notorious for walking out of the bathroom or taking a piss and not washing his hands, man. Disgusting.
I agree, man. Check out these notes. By the way, I think it's probably the craziest notes I've ever made. Okay, like this shit's insane, right? Like the Joker got a hold of my notes. Look at this, right? And not Joker, one of the cholos from the neighborhood. I mean Joker from Batman. Okay, so I'm just saying that. Hey, did you ever know a Joker when you were growing up, G-Funk, or were you the Joker?
I was definitely the Joker.
Anyway, with that said, guys, it's hard to just keep it boxing. We're going to do it anyway, right? With this coronavirus thing. But this is D-Style Boxing. What do we say?
Keep it boxing.
Keep it boxing.
You boxing.
Peace.